Have you ever wondered why the ringgit is free-falling compared to its neighboring nations? Could it be due to investor disappointment with Prime Minister Anwar? Let's take a closer look at the current state of the ringgit and the impact it's having on Malaysia's economy. In recent times, the ringgit has been the worst performing currency in emerging Asia, sliding almost 8% against the US dollar. This economic turmoil is raising eyebrows and sparking debates amongst economists and political enthusiasts alike. The crux of the matter seems to point towards the leadership of Prime Minister Anwar. Despite high hopes for change when Anwar assumed office in 2022, his focus on building a cult hero image rather than implementing necessary reforms has raised concerns. Investors are growing increasingly disappointed. There's a sense that if Anwar, who was seen as Malaysia's last hope after a string of failed administrations, also falls short, there may be no hope left. This could lead to a capital flight to other, more welcoming nations. But, is Anwar the only one to blame? Let's delve into the past to find some answers. Our journey into the past begins with former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, who warned about the ringgit possibly falling to RM5 per US dollar. This is not the first time Mahathir has navigated such choppy economic waters. During the Asian financial crisis, he made the bold move to peg the ringgit and implement strict foreign exchange controls, against the advice of the International Monetary Fund. Mahathir's leadership was characterized by his take-charge attitude, often making decisions that were seen as unconventional, but ultimately brought stability during tumultuous times. His recent comments about the ringgit have stirred up both support and opposition, proving his influence in Malaysian politics remains strong, years after his retirement. But Mahathir was not the only one who tried to steady the ringgit. Let's not forget the other prime ministers who came after him, each grappling with the same issue, each trying their best to bring about the necessary reforms. Abdullah Badawi, who took over from Mahathir, had his share of challenges. Despite his efforts, the ringgit continued its downward trend. Then came Najib, who despite the infamous 1MDB scandal, did attempt to liberalize the economy. But his efforts were thwarted by Mahathir, who played the race card against him. Following Najib, Mahathir returned to power, only to be succeeded by Muhyiddin Yassin and then Ismail Sabri. Each of these leaders faced their own challenges, and despite their best efforts, failed to implement the critically needed reforms to stabilize the ringgit. Despite their efforts, past administrations have not been successful in stabilizing the ringgit. But what about the current administration? Anwar, seen as the last hope for Malaysia, seems to be struggling to implement the much-needed but politically sensitive reforms. As the ringgit continues to plummet, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim seems to be more focused on building a cult hero image rather than taking decisive action. Unlike former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, who took full charge during the nation's downturn and implemented a PEG+ strict foreign exchange controls against IMF recommendations, Anwar's approach seems to lack assertiveness. Adding to the concern is the current shift in the world's financial system. With de-dollarization on the horizon, a new phase is emerging that demands expertise. Unfortunately, there are growing concerns that Anwar and his inexperienced deputies may not be equipped to navigate this critical phase. The disappointment with Anwar's performance is palpable. From bullying critics to ignoring the wishes of coalition allies, his leadership has alienated even his staunchest supporters. The ringgit's freefall is not just a financial issue, it's a reflection of the nation's growing disillusionment with the current administration. The question now is, can Anwar turn things around, or is it time for a new leadership? As discontent grows, there's rising clamor for a new prime minister. Rumors are rife about a realignment of political parties to build a more cohesive federal government. The name making rounds in the corridors of power is ex-minister Hishamuddin Hussein. Known for his diplomatic acumen, Hishamuddin is seen as a potential candidate to navigate the country through these turbulent times. There's also talk of a super unity government. The idea is to bring together political parties with diverse ideologies but a common goal: to pull Malaysia out of this economic quagmire. Allies like the Sarawak's powerful GPS and DAP, who have shown their dissatisfaction with the current administration, may join hands with the PN opposition coalition to form this new government. This potential coalition is seen as a formidable force that could withstand fractures and won't be easily swayed by personal ego, cultism, or sycophancy. The focus is on creating a stable environment where long-term structural reforms can take place. Reforms that are crucial for the well-being of Malaysia's economy and its people. As the political landscape shifts, so does the fate of the ringgit. One thing is certain, the need for decisive leadership and structural reforms has never been more critical.